This meeting is being recorded and streamed via the Council website and social media. Good afternoon, councillors, staff and members of the public. Please be upstanding for our Mayor, Councillor Straub, to read the opening affirmation.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Loddon Shire Council's opening affirmation is: we, the councillors of Loddon Shire, declare that we will carry out our duties in the best interest of the community and through collective leadership will maintain the highest standards of good governance.
The Loddon Shire Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land upon which we are gathered and pays its respects to elders both past and present. Please be seated.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Council, welcome to our June council meeting. As advertised, we have brought our council meeting forward 1 week due to the ALGA conference in Canberra next week, where council will be making representation, and hence advertised to bring our meeting forward 1 week to today. So thank you all for joining us, whether you're joining online through the online stream or whether you're attending in the gallery. Council has no apologies to note today. Do I have any conflicts of interest to declare via any councillor today? And that is a no. We will continue to move forward with the confirmation of minutes. I'll take those minutes as read and ask if any councillors had any questions, queries or comments regarding the minutes of previous. If not, I'll like to seek a motion to move those minutes as a true and correct representation. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. I have a councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Angelo. I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and those minutes are carried. We'll move along to 6.1, Council's auspice meetings, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald to please take us through the record of Councillors' auspice meetings.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Council's governance rules require a record of meetings conducted under the auspices of Council to be presented at the next available scheduled Council meeting. As such, attached to this agenda report is a summary of the Council briefing and forum conducted during that period since the last meeting. The summary includes a record of those in attendance, the matters considered, and any conflicts of interest that were declared. The recommendation of the report is that Council confirm the records of the following auspiced meetings, as detailed in the report. The Council briefing held 26 May 2026 and the Council forum held 9 June 2026. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, opportunity to ask any questions regarding those auspice minutes. If not, do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion that... Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. I'm just going to go through and ask for a show of hands in favour, and those auspice meetings records are carried. Item 7.1 is the review of actions, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald again, please.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, a document containing the status of actions associated with Council resolutions is attached to this agenda report. I'm pleased to report that all 8 actions arising from the May 2026 Council meeting resolutions have been acted upon, and the one outstanding action that existed prior to May has also been completed. That was the priorities document that councils will recall was from November in 2025. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the status of Council resolution actions as attached to this report. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, any queries, questions, comments regarding the action sheets? If not, I'll ask if there's a councillor prepared to move a motion that those action sheets be noted. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor prepared to second. Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Show of hands in favour, and they are carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, we'll move on to our reports, and we'll start with 8.1, as always, the mayoral report for the month, being we have rescheduled our council meeting and brought it forward. Just a very brief mayoral report this month. Just to report that the Murray River Group of Councils met on Friday the 5th of June in Barmer, and we discussed a number of issues again regarding Murray-Darling Basin, and we had a presentation from Advanced Energy Tech regarding circular economy and a project to combat ongoing waste problems. As you would have heard me mention in the past, AET actually has a pilot site with their technology at the Pyramid Hill landfill and have been there for a number of years now, processing different waste streams. And it's something that I think Loddon Shire has been very invested into in helping that project evolve to combat waste streams, especially municipal waste, the red bin rubbish. And it was great to have a presentation from them at the Murray River Group, and also that meeting, all in attendance had a chance to have a look at the Barmer Choke. We talk about the Barmer Choke a lot when we're talking Murray-Darling Basin, and it was good to be there and have a bit of a tour and look at the choke and the effects it's having on getting water through the system. So that's just briefly a little bit of report from the Murray River Group, but I did also want to take this time to mention and congratulate all of our community planning groups and progress associations that were successful applicants of the Tiny Towns funding program. The announcement last week in Newbridge, I'll leave Councillor Angelo to elaborate more on that in his council law report, but again, congratulations, some very worthwhile recipients there, and some great community projects will be formulated out of that very generous funding stream. I'm going to leave it there, councillors, and I will ask if there's someone prepared to move a motion that my mayoral report be tabled for the month of June. Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Show of hands in favour. That mayoral report is carried. 9.1, council law reports, and I'm going to start on my right and invite Councillor Weaver to start off the council reports for today.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Being a shortened period between meetings, I haven't got a lot to report other than that I attended the Boort Tourism and Development meeting on the 1st of June. It's going along well with a few things starting to, a few projects they're pushing for, they're going well. Great rains across the region, and that's about it for me, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Weaver. A lot going on, and be very busy months to come. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last council meeting, a few things that I've been involved with. The Inglewood Community Sports Centre had their quarterly meeting, and that was the week before the 150th celebration of the football club. So there was much excitement about the prospect of that fantastic weekend that happened at Inglewood with the game. Huge turnout, really fantastic very exciting for the club and for the town. On the 10th of June, I zoomed into an MAV, Municipal Association of Victoria, meeting for a pre-briefing for the National General Assembly, which was about a block of motions that the Municipal Association of Victoria are looking forward to, all councillors in Victoria supporting at next week's National General Assembly, which I'll get to in a minute. Last night I attended via online to save on petrol the Inglewood Development and Tourism Committee Forum, their monthly meeting. A lot of discussion about the Inglewood Alive that'll happen in November of this year, about the Yuki Museum. But just next week is the National General Assembly in Canberra conference that we go to. Our nominee for that delegate, Councillor Holt, won't be attending. I will be the voting delegate in his place. So I'm busy reading 243 motions that need voting on in preparation for next week's conference. Oh joy, oh bliss. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I'll go to Councillor Holt, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There's just a couple of things I'd like to report on, Mr Mayor. Firstly, back on the 27th of May, I did attend a public meeting involving our Echo Devon Tourism Department and the Wedderburn Tourism Group concerning the future of the Wedderburn Detector Jamboree. It was a very well attended meeting, and I think there were some positive outcomes out of that meeting. They do now have a person willing to take on the job of president. The thing that they're looking for is someone to actually coordinate the jamboree. And can I say, Mr Mayor, that the general manager of Minelab, which is the major sponsor of the Wedderburn Detector Jamboree, a gentleman by the name of Mark Wellington, was present. Now, Minelab, actually headquartered in South Australia, is a part of a large multinational corporation, and they were very clear that their, in terms of community events that they sponsor, their number one priority in Australia is the Wedderburn Detector Jamboree. So that was very, very positive, and we do hope that this major event can continue. Once again, we confront practical examples, Mr Mayor, of the issue around volunteerism in our communities. And the other one I'd like to report on, Mr Mayor, is that I did attend the Municipal Association of Victoria State Council, and as is the case with ALGA, there are a lot of motions before that gathering, not all of which are relevant to Loddon, but nonetheless we participate in the state conference. Now, there was three things there I did note that I thought was of particular interest to Loddon, Mr Mayor. One was the issue of state government insurance of Crown land buildings, and State Council supporting that the responsibility for insuring facilities on Crown land should be the responsibility of the state government. Because as you know, in Loddon, it's Shire that insures the buildings. So that was an important one. There were a number of motions on, of course, the usual one is the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and specifically around the issue of water buybacks. And they were very supportive of our position, not our position specifically, but our known position on the Murray-Darling Basin Plan and water buybacks. And finally, Mr Mayor, there was another one in there which was very encouraging. We do have a number of neighbourhood or community houses in Loddon, and they have had some restrictions on their state government funding, and there was a motion there in, asking the state government to increase their funding for our community houses. And just one other thing I would like to comment on, Mr Mayor. As you know, in many senses, local government is the poor cousin of government in Australia, with great restrictions on our ability to raise revenue and a multitude of responsibilities. However, one thing I did glean from the MAV State Conference, Mr Mayor, was that we actually have some superpowers that the other levels of government do not have. One is the fact that we are part of and live in the communities we serve. Two, and surveys repeatedly show this, local government is the most trusted level of government. And number 3, one of the things we do have the ability to do is bring communities together to get behind community projects. And I thought, well, even though we do have some challenges, we do have some pluses relating to local government. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt, and there is a lot of pluses in local government, and very true, those words you have just spoken, and very exciting news too about the Detector Jamboree having one of the biggest names in prospecting throwing their support behind that event, and the attraction it's got in the local area here of Wedderburn, with interstate and international individuals coming to take part, which is very, very positive. So congratulations to the community on that.
That may well more align, Mr. Mayor, with an item we're going to look at later in the meeting of the issue of the Loddon Information Centre, Tourist Information Centre in Bridgewater, and what we are also... Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Interesting that the issue of the Detector Jamboree will be in line with what we're going to discuss later on concerning the Tourist Information Centre, Loddon Tourist Information Centre in Bridgewater, and the fact that we are going to alter the focus of the Wedderburn Information Centre from a Shire-wide focus to a Wedderburn-specific focus. And one of those 2 areas of specific focus will be the prospecting gold mining. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. And today we'll finish with Councillor Angelo, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 6th of June, I attended the Tarnagalla Community Breakfast. What a great job they do down there. Plenty of eggs and bacon and all sorts down there. So that's always good and good to catch up with the locals down there. On the 10th of June, I attended the Tiny Towns presentations down in Newbridge, and I think we've done pretty well in Loddon Shire. I know there was 7 out of the 8 from Tarnagalla Ward were approved, so congratulations to everyone across Loddon Shire that was able to receive those Tiny Town grants. On the 11th of June, so the next day I was in Newbridge again, talking to the consultants that have started, the Newbridge Urban Development Strategy is in stage 2 now, so it's all up for community consultation. So we were just talking to them and took a bit of a drive around town and whatnot. So they'll be talking to the locals very shortly. What else? Oh, apart from that, a couple of weeks ago, I attended a seminar on off-grid emergency communications. So I'll be out and about in Loddon Shire testing that out in the up and coming months. It's called Mesh Call. And I'm also looking forward to the bold emergency event on this Thursday night. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Angelo. And yes, once again, those Tiny Towns applications are very well received. I think out of 20 applications across Loddon, 12 received funding. So that was very impressive. And thank you for representing Loddon Shire there on the day too. Councillors, all 4 reports have been tabled. Do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Weaver, that those council reports are noted. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Show of hands in favour. Reports carried. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our decision reports, and councillors, we have 5 reports for decision today. And starting with report 10.1, planning application 6078. to carry out earthworks associated with irrigation in a farming zone and land subject to inundation overlay. And I'll ask Director Van also, please, to deliver the report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. This report relates to planning permit application 6078 for earthworks associated with irrigation at Yarrawalla, including laser grading and the construction of channels and drains. The application was lodged following a compliance matter as earthworks had been undertaken on the site requiring a planning permit. The application has been assessed in accordance with the Planning and Environment Act, including public notification, which resulted in 2 objections raising concerns primarily around drainage, flooding impacts, salinity, and combined effects on surrounding land. The application was also referred to relevant authorities. The North Central Catchment Management Authority has provided conditional consent, and the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action has raised no objection. From a planning perspective, the key considerations have been the impact of earthworks on flood behaviour, drainage patterns, and whether the proposal maintains the natural function of the floodplain. Having regard to the Loddon planning scheme and the characteristics of the site, the proposal is considered appropriate in planning terms. Councillors, please take the recommendation as read. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director Van also. Councillors, we've got the recommendation in front of us with 8 conditions imposed, also noting condition 8 has 4 subclauses. Councillors, do I have a motion regarding the planning permit 6078? Thank you. Councillor Weaver has moved a motion to the effect regarding the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor Weaver is the mover. Opportunity to speak to the motion.
Oh, we've had a good look at this one, Mr Mayor. There is some drainage issues, but I don't think that it's associated with this. I think it's district-wise. I think if all those conditions are met, I think it's the right thing to do is to grant it.
Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Angelo, as the seconder, opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'll agree with everything that Councillor Weaver's stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one against? Show of hands in favour? And that is carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll keep moving along to 10.2. Now, our next decision report today is the adoption of the 2026-27 annual budget, fees and charges schedule, and the annual action plan. This is one of the most important documents that Council adopts each year, and I'll ask, please, Director Steadman to deliver the report and the accompanying recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, this report seeks Council's adoption of the 26-27 annual budget, fees and charges schedule and the annual action plan. These documents collectively set out how Council will allocate its resources over the coming year to deliver services, maintain and renew community assets and progress the priorities adopted in the Council Plan 2025 to 2029. They've been prepared in accordance with legislative requirements and Council's budget management and principles policy. As we become increasingly aware, our budget continues to be developed in a constrained financial environment that must balance increasing costs and the state government's rate cap of 2.75%, while maintaining core services and investing in essential infrastructure. The budget seeks to collect $11.69 million in rates, applying a general rate in the dollar of 0.185 cents, with rural properties receiving a 12 12% discount via the rural property differential rate of 0.162 cents against each dollar of capital improved value. The budget maintains a positive cash position of $28.3 million, includes no new borrowings, continues Council's community planning program and incorporates a $10.215 million capital works program designed to support the long-term needs of our communities, particularly into our largest asset base being our local road network. Nearly 60% of our capital program, being $6.128 million, will go towards roads, which is also supported by a further $7.75 million within our operational budget for ongoing road maintenance programs. The report before Council also acknowledges the valuable feedback received through community engagement processes earlier in the year, where local residents shared their priorities and commentary for how, when and where Council delivers services to its communities. The budget also notes the ongoing challenge of financial sustainability to which Loddon is not immune, forecasting an operating deficit of $6.224 million. This primarily reflects cost pressures and revenue constraints under rate capping and our substantial non-cash movement of depreciation. As such, officers are recommending that a mid-year financial sustainability report be prepared in addition to our long-term financial plan review in October to identify recurrent savings opportunities and to strengthen Council's underlying financial position. In addition to the budget being considered today, councillors are also asked to consider the 26-27 fees and charges schedule after its period of recent community engagement. The proposed fees are set in line with our revenue and rating plan and also include a number of statutory fees that are set through state government legislation or local laws. Lastly, councillors, in line with the principles of integrated strategic planning within the Local Government Act 2020 and in conjunction with the budget, councillors are asked to adopt the 26-27 Annual Action Plan, which supports the alignment of the budget and deliverables of the organisation with the Council Plan 25 to 29. The action plan should be read in conjunction with the budget, which aligns initiatives and performance indicators with the actions identified in the plan. These pieces of work considered together provide a transparent framework for implementation and accountability during the 26-27 financial year. Before I conclude, I would like to also acknowledge the significant body of work that's undertaken by staff in preparing these documents, particularly to Natalie Martin, our Manager of Financial Services, delivering her first Loddon Shire budget, and Natalie's team as a whole. Developing the budget, fees and charges schedule and annual action plan is a substantial organisation-wide effort that involves extensive analysis, planning, engagement and coordination across all departments. And I thank all the staff who have contributed their time, expertise and commitment to presenting a budget that seeks to balance community expectations, service delivery needs and Council's long-term outlook. And finally, a thank you to you, councillors, for your input, your challenge and your support throughout the development of these important documents. Councillors, the recommendation with you today is that Council 1 adopts the 26-27 annual budget comprising the 26-27 financial year plus the subsequent 3 financial years, pursuant to Section 94 and 96 of the Local Government Act 2020, and acknowledges the 26-27 Capital Works Program as detailed in Section 4.5.2 of the 26-27 budget. That Council declares the rates and charges in accordance with Section 4.1.1 of the 26-27 annual budget as required under Section 94(2)(I) of the Local Government Act 2020 and Section 161(2) of the Local Government Act 1989. That Council adopts the 26-27 fees and charges schedule, that they authorise either Director Corporate, myself, or Chief Executive Officer to approve changes to Council's 26-27 fees and charges schedule where statutory fees and charges are altered by external parties. Point 5 acknowledges the community's contribution to the budget consultation process and thanks them for their contribution. Point 6 adopts the 26-27 annual action plan, and point 7 notes the ongoing annual budget deficit and the need to improve council's long-term financial sustainability, and as such directs the Chief Executive Officer to prepare and present a mid-year financial sustainability report identifying recurrent savings opportunities and proposed savings targets to address the annual deficit and strengthen council's underlying financial position. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director Steadman. This is a document that we've all had a lot of input and involvement, and that was a fair effort to get that report out with the recommendations, Director. Thank you. I'm just going to go straight to ask Councillor prepared to move a motion to recommendation in front of us. Councillor Holt has moved the motion. Thank you, Councillor Holt. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Holt, as the mover, I'll give you the opportunity to speak to the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. This is the biggest decision we make for the year because it pretty much sets the agenda for the entire 2006-7 financial year. I don't think I need to go any further into the challenges, the budgetary challenges facing us, because I think they were adequately outlined by Director Steadman when she was presenting this report. At a couple of key points, the fact does remain that we are adopting a budget with a $3.5 million cash deficit. Now that bears repeating so that it is well heard by all residents and ratepayers of Loddon. And we simply cannot continue to do that. We are very constricted on what we can do on our revenue side, and I think that this current council is showing its commitment to having a real look at the expenses side of our budget and where we can make savings to ensure that we don't have a deficit budget. I think another thing that needs highlighting, Mr Mayor, is, and I particularly say this to our farmers, you'll note in the budget that the total rates raised is 11.7 million and the total spend on roads, both operational and capital, is 13.4 million. So relative to rates, we are making a very, very significant contribution to our road, bridges, streets network. And I think that needs to be understood by our community. And finally, Mr Mayor, just one more point I'd like to make. I would not be supporting the recommendation and proposing it as a motion if it wasn't for item 7, in which, after discussions with the Chief Executive Officer, he has agreed that going forward this calendar year, we will be having a serious review of and look at where we can make some savings in this budget, and where they can be structural, in other words, where they are expenses that are built in to how we operate. We've got to really have a good think about them, including the extent of our asset base. So there's a lot of work for us to do. There's going to be a lot of work for our directors, and a lot of things for us to consider. But I'd make one final point. In that task, we need, as councillors, to make absolutely sure that all of our staff feel part of it, feel a part of what we're doing and involved in the decisions, filtering up to us that we might make. That is the way to make it work. And I know CEO Fitzgerald is committed to that idea. And so, despite the challenge here, I think I can see some light at the end of the tunnel going forward, but it will require some hard decisions. Having said that, Mr Mayor, I support the recommendation as a motion as put to us. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Holt. Councillor Wilson, as the seconder, opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Approving a budget with a $3.5 million deficit is not something I certainly want to do. However, we're bound by government to produce a budget within a certain time frame, so you get to the pointy end and you need to come up with a budget that you can deliver. We are asking in recommendation number 7 for this to be reviewed in 6 months' time so that we can make further adjustments if needed. And as Councillor Holt said, I agree with that being the excellent condition that allows us to support this. You can see in this budget that our outgoings far exceed our income, and we are working to close that gap. But unfortunately for us all, because you need to remember that the councillors are residents of the Shire as well, this is going to require more decisions that we do not want to make. Whether it's going to be increasing rates, further cutting of services, or halting projects, something's going to have to give. All I ask is that you remember that we are residents. Thinking of ways to save money, not spend money, would also be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Wilson. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one against? No? Just before I ask for a show of hands in favour, I would just like to reiterate that this is the most important decision that we as a council group make every year, and comments made about ownership of this budget. Council does take ownership and full responsibility for the finances of council, and we do own our decisions, along with the staff of Loddon Shire too, bringing them along for the ride and having that ownership of what we're doing is for the greater good. But also the community does have a sense of ownership too around our budget every year, and we work very closely with the community to really set that strategic direction. And as the councillors speaking to these motions today have stated, that we do have to make big decisions and we make them together as a community and as a Shire-wide decision process. We will have to do this as one moving into the future. So thank you, councillors. I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that is carried. Thank you, councillors. Tremendous effort, and thank you to the staff to put together that budget document and the report to help us make those informed decisions, and we look forward to the review by the CEO in 6 months' time. Moving along, councillors, to 10.3, the Bridgewater and Inglewood Draft Structure Plan for Community Consultation, and I'll invite, please, Director Van also to deliver the recommendation, or the report first, followed by the recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Council was previously briefed on this work back in February, and since then the draft structure plans for Bridgewater and Inglewood have been further developed, including input from the CFA. At a high level, these plans are about guiding future growth, improving resilience to bushfire and flood risk, and protecting the character and livability of both towns. For Bridgewater, the plan provides for around 120 new homes, with growth directed to the east away from flood-prone areas. It also supports local economic activity through tourism, small-scale industry, and strengthening Main Street, along with improvements to pedestrian connections and links to the river. For Inglewood, the plan allows for around 100 new homes, with growth mainly to the east and southeast in response to bushfire risk. There's also a focus on strengthening the town centre, supporting a vibrant Main Street and improving the visitor economy. In both towns, there are proposed zoning changes to better reflect how the land is used and to support appropriate development outcomes. The draft plans will go out for community consultation through June and July, with further opportunities for feedback before being brought back to Council. Overall, this is a well-informed piece of work that gives us a clear framework to guide future development, and I thank the staff and the consultants for getting us to this point. The recommendation before you is that Council undertakes community consultation on the draft Bridgewater and Inglewood structure plans for a period of 1 month commencing 17 June 2026. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director Van Also. We've got a very comprehensive document that outlines the structure plan, recommendation to put this out for community consultation. Do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor Wilson, opportunity to speak to your motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I know the community groups will be very interested in being able to review this document and look forward to the community really getting their heads around it, being engaged in the consultation process and being able to provide their unique insights and input into the feedback to ensure that these structure plans really are the best they can be and fit for purpose. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Holt as a seconder.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, just briefly, I think it's accepted that we're all about trying to ensure the future of our communities, and that requires us not to stand still, but to be proactive in how we might be able to do that. Now, this is a fairly sophisticated piece of work, and a very significant piece of work, which will lay a foundation for us to attempt to secure the future of the Inglewood Bridgewater area. I would say, Mr Mayor, that we also need to be saying to the residents of Loddon that when you do major pieces of work like this, you have to start somewhere. And we've decided to start with the Inglewood Bridgewater area. But it's understood that as we work through that piece of work, we will move on to other significant Loddon communities. So, as I said, Mr Mayor, this will be a basis on which we can make some hopefully rational decisions and sound grant request decisions and just sound decisions in general concerning how we're going to go about developing the future of Inglewood Bridgewater. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one wanting to speak against? I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that is carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll move on to 10.4. 10.4 today, councillors, is the adoption of the Media and Social Media Policy version 3, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald please to deliver the report and accompanying recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, the Media and Social Media Policy version 3 before Council is a reviewed and updated version of the existing 2021 policy. Changes to the policy seek to provide clearer, more transparent guidance for how Council communicates with the community and also with the media. The policy strengthens governance by clarifying who can speak on behalf of Council and Council operations, expanding on the key communication themes and providing clearer definitions of both traditional and social media. The recommendation of the report is that Council adopts the Media and Social Media Policy version 3. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
Mayor, I'd like to move a motion to defer this paper on the premise that it needs more work and needs to come back to councillors in forum prior to being resubmitted to Council for approval or adoption.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Wilson has moved a motion to defer this document on the premise of further work and to revisit in a forum. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Wilson, the motion has been seconded. I'll give you the opportunity to speak to the motion now.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I think further work on this policy needs to be undertaken. It had come to forum a number of times. Further changes have been made without the final discussion, I think, of councillors about those final changes. So just really bringing it back to forum to review in that environment first, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Weaver? No. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one against? A show of hands in favour. And that motion is carried, and that will be deferred and brought back at a later date. Thank you, councillors. We'll move along to 10.5, the Loddon Information Centre, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald, please, to deliver the report and recommendation along with it.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, the Loddon Visitor Information Centre report asks Council to support a modern and sustainable approach to visitor servicing that strengthens our tourism economy while protecting local community interests. The recommendation is to establish an accredited visitor information centre at 25 Main Street, Bridgewater, which would be supported by a $300,000 investment from the Land and Buildings Reserve, and that really relates to building improvements to an existing asset. The proposal also includes a formal review after 3 years to assess the performance so that Council can determine the long-term future of this proposed facility. The recommendation is based on quite a number of years of research and planning. Independent studies found that Bridgewater is a key gateway to the Shire and receives a significantly high passing traffic count and offers the potential to attract visitors and encourage longer stays and increase local spending, which is really a big part of what this is about, is trying to support the economy. At the same time, this report also recognises the importance of Wedderburn by proposing a community-led satellite visitor service focused on local experiences and attractions. Councillor Holt alluded earlier to the importance of particularly gold prospecting and the high visitation we receive for that, but also the important events, as well as bird watching with quite a large visitation related to that. The model, I should also note, continues to support the Welcome Shops initiative, which provides in-business promotion across quite a number of our townships across the municipality. The model really aims to be financially sustainable, to create benefits for local businesses and producers, and require no additional council staff resources, at the same time as preserving that face-to-face opportunity for visitors. I think what's quite positive in this proposal is that it really tries to engage with producers and highlight Loddon's strength, particularly in agriculture and food production, and provide an outlet and a marketing opportunity for that local product that is available. Overall, the report represents an investment in growing the visitor economy, supporting local communities and creating a stronger network of tourism services across the Shire. The recommendation is that Council 1 establish a visitor information centre at 25 Main Street, Bridgewater. 2 approves the transfer of $300,000 from the Land and Buildings Reserve to fund capital renewal and improvement works on the council-owned building located at 25 Main Street, Bridgewater. And 3, receives an evaluation of the Visitor Information Centre's performance after 3 years of operation to confirm ongoing operation or cessation of that service. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. This has been long discussed within Council, and a number of documents, studies, reports, business cases have been presented to us for consultation and conversation. We're at the pointy end of a recommendation. Do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion? Was it Councillor Angelo? Thank you. And a councillor to second. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Angelo, as the mover, opportunity to speak to your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think this is a great thing for Loddon Shire. I think this will work well in with Wedderburn. What I've sort of found when you come to Loddon Shire, you know, the more you look, the more you see, the longer you stay. But yeah, I'm all for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor Weaver, opportunity to speak? No. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? Councillor Holt, for? Against? For? Yes, Councillor Holt, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm going to support the motion, Mr Mayor, but I do have some reservations. Now, we've just passed a budget with a $3.5 million deficit. And one of the things we've said about our budget is that our asset base is too large vis-a-vis our revenue. And here we are developing another community asset for which we will be responsible. So on the one hand, we issue words about how we're going to do something about our budget deficit, and 12 minutes later, we are approving a cost to the ratepayer of $500,000, 300 capital works, capital improved value, foregone revenue for the sale of the property of the ratepayers of Loddon. This is a $600,000 investment, when we have just spoken about how we're going to have a real good look at our expenditure program. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. That's the first thing I'd like to say. The second thing I'd like to say is I do believe that what's being said about the current Wedderburn Tourist Information Centre is correct. And I actually have been convinced by Officer Stretch and others that this will in fact be beneficial to Wedderburn, not detrimental. And I want that to be understood when I say I've got severe reservations about the project. I would not be supporting this motion if it wasn't for point 3. Receives an evaluation of the Visitor Information Centre performance after 3 years of operation to confirm ongoing operation or cessation of the service. And one more thing, that should be read in conjunction with the principles of this project. And those principles are no detriment to Wedderburn Community House, and no detriment to Wedderburn Tourism. Well, we've spoken about that. No additional council staff resourcing. And the key one, a cost-neutral or hopefully profit-making operational model. Now, we've been given a pretty flimsy operational model. And I've got severe reservations about that, because one of the things I've learned here is that we have to give some in-depth consideration to the sustainability of any of our projects, including this one. So, I would assume that if it doesn't meet Principle 4, it will fail Part 3 of the resolution. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt, for supporting the motion.
Yes, I am.
Is there a councillor wishing to speak for? Against? Against, Councillor Wilson.
As the elected ward councillor for this area of Bridgewater, people may be surprised that I am not going to support this motion. This project and work was started in 2023, and potentially if the project had come back, if I was a councillor in 2023 and had come back to me then, I may have supported it. But in 2026, I do not. Firstly, just exactly what Councillor Holt has said. At some point, we have to draw a line in the investment we make in times when we have restricted financial capabilities. I see this, unfortunately, as an opportunity for the council to sell the property and have the revenue go back into the organisation. I am yet to be convinced that there's evidence of this increased face-to-face value in terms of information tourism, when you can so easily go online and get all the information about anywhere you want to go in the world, either by getting AI to develop you a 3-day, 4-day, 6-week itinerary of where you want to go with highlights. I've done that on Loddon Shire. I asked for a 3-day itinerary. It took me all over the Shire, telling me about incredible things. I can't support this motion, unfortunately, and I feel very strongly that it should not be supported for all the financial reasons. I don't actually believe it's going to be of detriment to our tourism outcomes if we do not proceed with it, but I just don't see it stacking up. So I will not be voting in favour of it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Before I revert back to Councillor Angelo as the mover of the sum-up debate, I'd just like to mention that I do support this recommendation and all very relevant points that have been made today. Just wanted to make the point of the land and building reserve, which this will be funded out of, which was being created for projects exactly of this nature, that had actually had some significant contributions from the sale of land in recent years, where council disposed of a number of assets to sell vacant properties into the private market for housing development, and had been substantially contributed back into the building land and building reserve where this is funded from. Just wanted to make that point, and I'll invite Councillor Angelo as the mover to sum up debate. Nothing further, thank you. I'll ask for a show of hands in favour. Against? That is carried. Thank you, councillors. That was a great conversation, debate. I'll turn the microphone off, and we will keep moving on, knowing that there's a review period. That it was item 3 of that last recommendation. We'll move along now, councillors, to information reports. And councillors, we have one report for information today. That is 11.1, the 2026 Local Government Community Satisfaction Survey results. And I'll invite Director Steadman to please deliver the recommendation along with its report.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, an information report is with you today regarding Loddon Shire Council's results from the 2026 Local Government Community Satisfaction Survey. The survey was conducted with 500 residents across Loddon Shire by the firm JWS Research over the course of the last financial year. Key results include an overall performance score of 63, which is up 5 points from 2025's result, rating above statewide and small rural group results. Loddon's highest performing areas were waste management, recreational facilities and appearance of public areas, and also noted is Council's customer service, seeing a 7-point jump to be one of Council's top performing areas. Lowest performing areas from the 2026 survey remain consistent with previous years, being unsealed roads, planning and building services and sealed local roads, although all of these areas have improved from previous years, with both road types jumping 10 points from 2025 results. Councillors, these are really pleasing results for the Shire, but they don't mean that we sit back and relax. While the results show we are headed in the right direction, there is always ways for us to improve our services to the community, and there is a lot of data available through this survey that we can use to continue to do that. Councillors, the recommendation with you today is that Council note Loddon Shire Council's results from the 2026 Local Government Community Satisfaction Survey. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director Steadman. Councillors, we've had a good look at this report, and there's some positive results in there, but also a lot that we need to keep focusing on as we move forward. Councillors, do I have a mover to a motion? Still got to be moved. Yes, no. Good question. Do I have a mover? Thank you. Sorry, I'll go Councillor Weaver to move, Councillor Wilson to second. Councillor Weaver, opportunity to speak. Councillor Wilson? No. Any other councillors want to speak for? No one against? I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that motion is carried. Thank you very much. And councillors, we'll move on to our compliance reports. And we have one compliance report for today, and that is 12.1, Audit and Risk Committee update. And again, Director Stedman, please, to deliver report and recommendation.
Thank you again, Ms Straub. Councillors, for your receipt and noting today is a summary of the most recent meeting of the Loddon Shire Council Audit and Risk Committee as required by the Audit and Risk Committee Charter. The primary item considered at this special meeting of the committee was to note the draft 26-27 annual budget and fees and charges schedule as per the report earlier in today's agenda. Councillors, the recommendation with you today is that Council receives and notes the summary of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting, 28th of May 2026. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director. Councillors, we've had a good look at the report in our agenda pack. Do I have a councillor prepared to move a motion? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Do I have a seconder? Is there a councillor prepared to second the motion? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Angelo, opportunity to speak to the motion.
No, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Weaver? No, thank you. No. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one speaking against? A show of hands in favour? And that is carried also. Councillors, we have no matters of urgent business to consider today, and we have no confidential items either for consideration. So now Council has addressed all items on today's agenda. I can now close today's meeting at 4:01 p.m. and thank everybody for your attendance today, and thank everybody in the community for tuning in to the live stream. Thank you.